a boat in the kingdom, can't turn around. We're lighting up the night, shaking up the ground. Excuses and flames, yeah, we're breaking free. We'll be fire, this is our legacy.
Dang, that thing fires me up every time.
Yeah, baby.
Gets me every time.
Fired
One
up.
big fire.
One big fire. How do we put all our fires together and make one big fire?
Dang, dude, every time I hear that, it takes me back to 2015 in Aspen. Sitting, I mean, couldn't have been a better setting.
Right.
Aspen, Colorado. And I remember we were in the mastermind, and after you said that, I looked out, and all I saw was just the flakes felt like they were the size of golf balls.
Yeah.
And it was the most peaceful thing. And we didn't even know that like something magical was about to happen a couple of years later after that.
No doubt about it.
And here we are. How you doing, my friend?
Man, dude, crazy, bro. It's just crazy right now. Like, I don't know. I stay excited, you know that, but like it just hasn't been like this in a long, long time. Like crazy growth right now. Like literally, and this is funny because you know that somebody at corporate right now is like, I wish they quit saying that before we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just know because we're here and you can feel the difference and the quality of people, the numbers, the volume, the number of calls that are happening. Man, it's just it's exciting, man. I love it. I like being busy, man. That's, you know, I don't like sitting on the beach.
Yeah. Well, you know, your post went viral last week. You know, typically we don't ever lead with our results. We lead with action. When I say results, I mean the monetization of what we've done. You know, we typically keep that behind the curtain, but you know what? It was time to bring it out because we're starting to see this momentum and unprecedented growth. Brokerages all over the country, they're either closing their doors, they're not renewing their franchises, they're losing agents like crazy. We see it in the numbers when we're looking at the software that we use to look at it. We see all the brokerages, their numbers are going down, down, down. We're at 2% plus net growth month over month. Over $20 million in revenue share over the last 8 years. By the way, happy anniversary.
Hey, happy anniversary to you as well.
Yes, thank you. But the question that I keep getting DMs, and we got DMs like crazy. We were on 2 calls today, agents that saw that came over. And the question is like, why? How is it that, you know, my brokerage is losing agents? The one guy was like, they're leaving and you guys are having growth. So we wanted to take this episode, One Big Fire, and come on and, you know, and kind of maybe answer some of those questions, right, Jay?
Yeah, man. You know, it's we're at this phase now of the company size that everybody has been pitched to come to EXP at some point, and you've formed an opinion, you know, of what you think it is. And some of you have been at EXP. In fact, 9 of you that leave or come back every day. So you're not going to be the only one when you come back. That's a real thing, happens every day. But you either kind of experienced, you know, an earlier version, or you went to the Ford dealership and somebody told you about, you know, and they told you about what a Chevrolet is. And that's, you know, that, so you haven't actually really done the research to know exactly what it is that you've been avoiding for the last 8 years. But, and so that's an interesting dynamic that, you know, people don't want to change brokerages. And I think, you know, fundamentally that when you get into real estate, they should give you a plaque that says, figure it out, because that's exactly what it feels like for everyone. And pretty much your whole career is just you figuring it out. And that it feels like a lateral move to go to another brokerage. Like, I'm over here trying to figure it out. You want me to come over there and try to figure it out? That's not, well, how's that going to solve my biggest problem of getting a customer next week? You know? And so I think that that's historically what brokerages are. And then they have this promise, you know, these promises that they make, and then you come over and then the person that recruited me has said all those things. Where are they at? You know, oh, they get paid to recruit you here. You know, they don't get paid to help you. So, you know, they good at selling you coming here, but they don't actually do that job. So you're kind of on your own. You're trying to figure it out. And they don't know what it's like to have support and help at a level that you get at EXP. It's just not what the norm is. And so I think we're breaking that mold, and people are learning, and they're like, okay, it can't be any worse than where I'm at. So I guess I'll try it. You know, can't lose. It can't be worse. And again, I think most people aren't really unhappy where they're at. They're doing what they do and figuring it out, knowing that they don't get a lot of help. I will say everybody is sick of paying the portals, it seems like. And so, if we can help them solve those problems, it's obviously a lot of money that you can save. So it's fun.
Well, I mean, we've been seeing, I think we started to see the shift back before 2015 even, and maybe even back in 2010, 11, where, Keller Williams, I think, led the charge in, training. And then they started, then the tech boom started and everybody's getting tech, but they were getting tech from Boomtown, Commissions Inc., all these other, they didn't get it from their broker because their broker's tech sucked. So the brokerage had all this stuff that nobody was using. By the way, everyone's paying for it through their commission splits,
right?
For whether you're using it or not, you're paying for it. And then we started seeing the advent of the revenue sharing, which has been it's like the ninth wonder of the world. We're talking about when we talk about compounding effect, because this calls about multiplication. And it's not just about multiplying in your business and multiplying money. It's about multiplying leaders. I think that the question that you asked me before we came live was, why are we seeing growth? And while other brokerages who have great tools, they have tools, they have technology, they have coaching, they have training, why are they losing agents? Why are their offices in the negative when we're looking at the reports, and why we're seeing growth? And I think that the one thing we started doing it a couple of years ago, but really this year we've hit the stride, is in finding leaders who want to grow, that are like us, that believe that pouring into people is going to multiply. When we pour into leaders and create other leaders, and those leaders create leaders, it's this multiplying effect, which is the eighth wonder of the world, right? The multiplying of compounding interest. But the ninth wonder of the world definitely is revenue share, which gives us the ability to invest back in. I love the story. We were on a call today with an agent who was at EXP about 4 years ago, he said, down in Florida, and he's coming back and he was blown away. Like, there's no pitch, when we're talking to somebody that sees the offer that we're putting out there, there's really no sales pitch. It's partner with us. And he even said, his wife, he said, my wife wants to know what the catch is.
Right.
Remember that? And the truth is, there is no catch. The catch is you partner with us. We're putting our money up front. And the reason we're able to do that in such a huge scale is because of revenue share. Dan Beer actually said it a few years back. A lot of agents aren't going to come for revenue share. The reason you should, even if you're not interested in multiplying and growing your own organization, is because this is what allows us to help thousands and thousands of agents grow their sales business.
Yep.
We're focused on production. We're taking brand new agents, never sold a house in their life. We talk about Travis all the time from Lawton, your hometown.
Yeah.
Sold a house in his life. He's gonna close over 50 transactions this year. It's only his second full year in real estate, and the year's not even over yet. And man, it's fun to watch. It's fun to be a part of.
Man, the thing, because the reason I asked that question for everybody that's watching this is I just got off a call with a good friend of ours in Vegas, kills it, Condo King, Jim Brooks. What's up, my brother? We call him Papa Smurf. And he was asking how things were going, and I was explaining it, and he's like, man, why do you think that? He asked me that question, and I was like, man, there really is it's a perfect storm, but the real truth, like if you get down to the kernel of the strategy, this company has attracted entrepreneurs. And Glenn, when I made that post, I should have gone back and edited it, because what Glenn did say was that he said, we made the opportunity so lucrative that right people are going to come join this company and help us build it. But the truth is, all of us entrepreneurs that are helping build this company are here building our own companies. And that's why people are joining. You come here because you want to build your business and your brand. And that's where we've evolved to. But when he said what he said, he got my attention, and I believed him, because we had done enough research on the comp plan. And we're like, okay, that's pretty good. So, but what's unique about, I think, EXP versus even the Me Too companies is the entrepreneurs. At some point, you as an entrepreneur, you're like, how do we make it better? How do we get bigger? We're always trying to go to the next level. And so, every day somebody at EXP is thinking, man, how do I make this? How do I make an agent succeed? How do I help them get to that first? And that's what happened with us is, looking at, revenue share is a 97% margin model for the longest times. Like, this thing is just the greatest business of all time. What would happen if we put $100,000 a month into scaling, doing done for you service for agents that we know they need? Because implementation is a big hurdle. Like, we can go watch all the videos you want. Go ahead, go learn ChatGPT, learn all that stuff, learn how to build workflows with it. I wasn't ever good at that stuff, but if you have a team of people doing it, you can be enabled by it without having to actually learn it. And that's where this thing is headed. And so we can do things at scale that make it easier, but we're empowered to do that by the financial model of EXP and not try to charge you, where everyone else is just barely getting by. And they're like, yeah, I'll do that for you and give me a 25% referral. And you're on a 50-50 split on that deal. And at the end, you get some peanuts, a bowl with 3 peanuts in it. And that's all that's left. And so, in short, every agent, every company that's out there, if they do provide you any kind of thing, they have to monetize it. And this company doesn't, because they've employed us to add value, and we get paid really well too. And so we don't need to make money and sell you things. We just need to find a way to help you the best way we can. And then you go tell your friends and we'll go help them, and then we'll help you. And so I think that's what I feel like I don't know how to want to say it, but I feel like as an entrepreneur, I've been empowered to go to the next level of making it where it would be financially irresponsible for you to stay where you're at. And then I can partner now because of co-sponsor with anybody in the company, and I can help you bring someone on. I can help you with your business and help them with their business. And I don't have to charge money for it because I get compensated so well with the revenue share model. And so I think that's just very unique in our model, that certainly none of the legacy companies can play the game. They're over there playing checkers, and we're over here playing chess. But even the companies that tried to compete, I always thought there would be competition. And now I look at them and I'm like, that's it. That's what they got. They came with that, and that's it. You got 5 levels at Real. LPT is on a model where 80% of people don't even participate in revenue share. Like, there's no real competition at this stage. I thought this was a 2-horse race, and there's just, it doesn't seem like to me there's any competition. And so if you're interested in the model and getting at some point financially free, which everybody should be, but not everybody's, bumped, if you hadn't crashed into the wall enough, then you probably haven't learned that yet. But if you just want to sell more real estate, the value here is going to be much greater than anywhere else, because we can afford to do things other people can't. And do you think that's it? I mean, I feel like that's,
man.
Of it, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Me Too companies, and this is what I love about what some of our competitors, so-called competitors, did. They copied our model. Smart. You should. It's a great model. What I love is the handcuffs they put on, because what everyone talks about is, the $20 million in top end revenue that we've been able to bring in. No one's talking about this though. How much millions that we are able to pour back into the agents, which is how we built. We didn't build Honey Badger Nation agent by agent. We built it by pouring into the agents, pouring into leaders, creating more leaders. That's how it multiplies. That's how Honey Badger Nation has multiplied. And now it feels like with co-sponsorship, it's like they took the governor off the Ferrari. Like they handed us a Ferrari about 8 years ago. It's like, here you go, drive this, but you can hit the gas all you want, but you're not going to get past 4th gear. We're only going to let you go like 55, 60. And now that governor's been taken off. And, it was one of our calls earlier today was with the guy from Texas. And he's like, how could anybody that see this want to even go to another brokerage or join anybody else? And I'm like, well, that's a good question. I think we'll talk about it today, but when you put handcuffs, and I remember like when we came in, we're like, Glenn, our value proposition is we were going to add as much value to the agent as possible. Glenn's like, well, I can't argue with that. But thank God, our competition is like, nope, you can't pour and invest back into your agents that join you. If you do, you have to help all the agents. How stupid that sounds to me is like, I always looked at it like this. Imagine you were a broker and you opened up your own brokerage, and the board of realtors says he calls you up and says, hey, I see that you're providing lead generation, coaching, a done-for-you system to all your agents. That's all fine and dandy, but you're going to have to offer it to all 7,000 or whatever's in your MLS. Otherwise, you can't just offer it to your agents. If anyone said that to a broker, they'd look at the board and say, you're absolutely out of your mind. And that's kind of what our competition's done, thankfully. You know, it's like we can show you our playbook, and we do. Here's the playbook. Here's everything we do. The reason we'll do that, imagine like you're at a Super Bowl, right? And the coach walks over and gives the other coach their playbook. They would never do that. We can do that because you can't duplicate what we're doing.
Yeah, it's super unique. And I would love, Carlo just made a post. What's up, Andre? Appreciate you, brother. What's up, Jamie? It's definitely we have the ability to first of all, do you remember when I got a phone call because early on somebody got mad because we were giving away all of our stuff and people were really happy when we joined, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, we got to compete with this now, and they were mad. And so Brent Gove called me and he's like, hey man, I know y'all are giving away everything y'all are doing, and I got mad. I said, listen, dude, I said, if I'm not allowed to add value to people's lives, then this is the wrong company. And Glenn called me and he said a bunch of really smart stuff. And I was like, okay, all right. I see what you're saying. I can do it differently. There's a million ways to do anything. So maybe I can do it differently and not maybe, feel like people, but the thing that co-sponsor did, like, think about it. We were all like, there was a little bit of competitive nature. Like, man, dang, I joined the wrong group, man. That sucks. I have to leave and come back. Like, people did it. I mean, I had a 300 agent brokerage and team leave and come back to join with us before co-sponsorship. And not that I didn't tell them to do that, but they're like, no, man, alignment is super important. I get it. And I understand it. And I'm doing it. And they did, and they left and they came back. And so now everybody in the company, there's no boundaries. You can align with anybody that you want to add more value to any individual person. And that might look different for each person in each state, in each market, and what their needs are. And there's no rules. Like, y'all go be entrepreneurs and help people. Like, that's what I feel like they did with co-sponsorship. Y'all be entrepreneurs, figure out how y'all can help people the best way possible. No holds barred. That's what, so that, and I'm not kidding, man. And when I really truly understood it, I'm sitting in Cabo and I'm like, I don't even want to leave my room with what I know right now. Like, because I was like, 10% of people there probably kind of understood co-sponsor. Maybe we should unpack it a little bit because I think most people really still don't understand it. But it just, I knew what was coming was going to be big. And I was like, holy moly, you mean to tell me now when you join EXP, this is important for people to get. When you join EXP today, let's say you're a mover and a shaker and you're well known in the industry and you were like, man, I missed the boat, man. I should have joined EXP. Oh yeah. When you join EXP today, every single person at EXP is now an opportunity for you that didn't exist before. I don't care who you join with. You join those that you talk to. You can go talk to everybody that's not at EXP about coming to EXP, but you should go talk to everybody else at EXP that might have value and that might see value in what you bring to the table, and they can bring you in to co-sponsor with anybody they bring in. That is a game-changing move. That is a game changer. When Caleb joined, immediately some lady had me on a three-way call with Caleb, and I was like, who the heck is this lady? Caleb, did you recruit her? Nope. She's some agent in my market that knows me. She's awesome, but she said she wanted to co-sponsor with us, and so we're on a call with this other agent we're recruiting, and I didn't even know who she was. That's because when you're a player in the game, now you have the ability to leverage everybody at EXP that you already know. A bunch of people here. Nobody joins that doesn't know anybody here that's that's significant in the industry. It's all about, like, who do I pick to choose? I want to piss somebody off. Well, now you can play with those people too. You can co-sponsor, join with whoever brings you in, go co-sponsor with anybody that you want. And that is literally, I think, the catalyst to the next 100,000 is people understanding there's no limitations. You can align yourself where it makes the most sense to add value and what's going to give you the most leverage to be able to attract someone. And the day you join, everybody at EXP is now not a competitor. They're now part of your family that you can leverage and work with. And that was a big game changer. Yeah. As big as the company's model is, I think that needs to be studied, and researched from a brilliant standpoint. Glenn Sanford, genius, because nobody had done that. We'd never even dreamed of it. It wasn't ever done in any other model like this from any other industry. and none of our competitors had figured out how to do it that way. And so I think that's certainly a huge deal for entrepreneur people that want to add value and recruit. And at the end of the day, that's not everyone, but for those of us here that are, you know, I'm not out there selling every day. I just want to help you sell. That's a big game changer.
Yeah. Well, typically just, you know, if we're just talking about the transparent truth, this type of a cloud-based model, if you look at like the traditional models versus the new advent of cloud-based models, there is more attrition, you know, in our type of model. The other thing that when we implemented co-sponsorship back in March, what it's done, another thing that people aren't talking about is that it's reducing attrition by a lot, because people don't have to feel like they have to leave the company. Let's say they ended up with, you know, somebody who was getting ready to retire. They sponsored them, and that person, you know, they're not in the game anymore. They don't have the tools, or, you know, even maybe the desire, because they're at the end of their career, to even help the person that they sponsored. So what a lot of people would do, they'd leave the company, not because they didn't love the company, it's because they weren't getting the support that they needed.
That's a great point. I never even thought about that, Al. Like that level of attrition is now not happening.
It's not happening. So
it's a really interesting stat. I bet you that's I'd love to know the math on how that has reduced attrition, because I'm certain it's a percentage. I don't know what it is, but
yeah. Tony Rodriguez,
what's up, Tony?
Yeah, what's up, Tony? It's perfect time of the year as people plan out their 2026, and the reality, yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody's looking at 2026. We're looking at 2026. We got some fun things in the horizon that we're working on too. Funnel Pilot obviously just cranking an amazing offer. You would think that we couldn't make it better. We're absolutely making it better.
We haven't even scratched the surface. Let me give an analogy, Al. So I was thinking about this earlier, and you know, like as an entrepreneur, like, you know, I sold a bunch of real estate, and then, you know, I liked helping people. So me and Mike, we started the coaching company, and it was basically like, use this website, go do these things, and we'll coach you on what you had to go figure it out. You still had to implement it. You had to build all that stuff. And then it got to a point, it was like, man, like, gosh dang, they need the listing presentation done for them. They need all of this stuff. And so we went to Dan Kennedy, we created NAEA, and it was like, boom, here you go. I don't care what company you're at. Here's your value proposition. Here's how you articulate that value. Train. Now you've been fully trained and you have a system, right? And so all we were really doing was we were just moving further down the value chain. As we would see hey, where's the next problem, man? We got to make this easier for them. That's all we were doing. And so then what happens? We're like, okay, man, the implementation of this stuff is really hard. And some people go to the moon and build huge businesses, and some people get stuck here and here and here along the way. And so what do? We're like, man, we should just do it for them. What do you mean, Mike? We should just build a call center and make the calls for them and do it all? Like, yeah, we should do that. So what next thing comes along is partner. So all we were doing was like, all right, this is a hurdle. All right, they don't know how to run the ads. Let's do that for them. All right, they don't want to make the calls. Let's do that for them. So like we kept moving further down the value chain because we kept seeing where people would get stuck. I'm in the same place right now at EXP. We're like, it was, and I use this as the way to describe it is, man, if you plug into everything we teach you, the smartest and best students are going to win. Those people are going to be a winner no matter where they're at, but they sure are going to appreciate what we help them navigate through without having to figure out on their own. Get on our Monday call, our Tuesday call, our Wednesday call. You got a lot of shit to learn. So like, you might as well saddle up, because it's a lot to learn. And guess what? Every level has a new devil. So you're going to learn that lesson. It's like, even Travis, I was thinking about this earlier. I was talking to him in Cleveland at your concert, and as agent to CEO. And he's like, yeah, man. I was like, tell me how the lead gen's going. Man, it's going great, man. I mean, I just bought Zillow. I bought realtor.com. I said, all right. I said, so, again, he's at 50 transactions his second year. Who he has to become is not who he is today. In order to that level, this devil is, now you got all this money, you're spending it, and you ain't tracking anything. So, and he's like, because I asked him, I said, what are the returns on each one? He said, I don't know. I was like, well, bud, I said, you came here for that one lesson, because you are not going to be able to continuously spend without understanding what's working and what's not working, and just using that feels good. I think that's working, and I'm just going to keep spending $3,000 here. You can't do it that way for very long before you learn a lesson. And so that was, that's the new devil for him. And so you go through all these things you learn, and we can add a ton of value in helping people learn those lessons and bumping into us and coming to events or this or that or the other. But the real meat and potatoes for almost everyone who struggles to get to consistency. We got him to consistency. Now he's got a new problem. His new problem is he's got too much money and spends it on all the millions of things you can do, not knowing what's actually working. And that's another lesson you learn as you grow. It's it's a higher class problem, but it's a problem nonetheless. But
he just bought his first house.
Yeah, I love that kid. Love it.
He's a doer. And we met a lot of people, and a lot of the people out there, they are, but they still run into the brain damage of trying to put all this stuff together. And what happens? Overwhelm happens. When overwhelm happens, you stop. And sometimes you even stop what you should be continuing doing because you're stopping short of it. And when you just needed another month of it, maybe another 2 months of it, and then you stop doing what was working. Actually, this is enabling people. It's taking their shackles off. And helping people, it's helping winners win. I was on a call earlier with one of our leaders who was, the topic of her team leader call was, basically team attrition. Agents that are getting super successful, then they leave the team, and the answer is simple. You need a consistent offer that's constantly. If you're a team leader out there, you have to be top grading your talent at all times. And in order to do that, you only have a couple options. One, hit the phones every day. Just like we tell our agents to hit the phones on buyer and seller leads, you need to be hitting the phones on finding talent and top grading your talent. But most agents don't want to do that.
Well,
most team leaders don't want to do that.
No,
so
they don't even realize that you have a org chart and that your name is in the box for recruiting and retention, and you probably got someone else trying to do retention. And you're not, it's like, okay, who's responsible for that? And you look around and you're like, shit, that's me. I guess I needed to be doing that. That's been how we've, if you operate a team up to 300 to 500 transactions, you probably are that person going, damn, man, I knew I should be doing that. But then 2 people leave and you're like, okay, time to recruit. That's just part of the lesson of learning. But it's like my biggest lesson, Al, the most painful lesson. And I think most of the biggest teams in the country don't know this. And it's the thing that we're going to solve for next. And we coached it and nobody else was coaching it because everybody would share, hey, man, what is your profit margin? And everybody's numbers would be different because everybody's P&Ls were different and nobody actually knew who was actually profitable. And it wasn't until I got kicked in the nuts enough times that I finally picked up a book on accounting and learned something that is not my native genius. And John, that was when John was gone at the time. And I was like, oh, this is my role. I guess I got to figure this out. How much do I pay myself for the roles and responsibilities in this company, the things that I do, and how much would it cost to replace me? And if you're not doing that, and if you're running Zillow and you're not calculating the cost to acquire a customer, that whatever it is, 45% now, I think I heard the other day somebody said 45% of that revenue that you don't get it's not a part of your gross margin. So you can't even see your business correctly. And so it's if we aren't all singing from the same sheet of music, profit margins are all over the place. Nobody knows who's winning and losing. If I stop selling, what happens, man? Back in production, you go like, it's a mess. But until we figured that out, I couldn't tell you if I was ever going to, I was building a prison around myself. And so like, we'll be able to solve that. I'll be able to take someone's P&Ls, run it into ChatGPT, spit it back out in the right version and instructions to get back to your CPA on how to do it. And you don't have to do anything. What used to be is we would have one of our coaches spend about 18 coaching calls with you, trying to educate you and get you to understand it and do it. And then you would never do it. Eventually you might do it, but it would take a year before that would get implemented because it was hard, right? That stuff's going to be able to be done instantly, and you're going to understand it, and you're going to be like, this makes sense. But that's the cool thing. That's where AI is going to make things easier. And anywhere there's efficiencies in the model, you're going to shore it up tight, quick. What are you doing? What is the lifetime value of your database? What is the number of touches you send out? What is the repeat referral ratio of people in your database? What is the best practices for mailing direct mailing an entire neighborhood to get 25% market share? You know how many touches? What's the frequency? What's the messaging? All of that stuff we know and we can tell you, but you got to sit in the room for 3 days. I'm going to be able to say, upload your headshot. Here's your value prop. Here's this information. Bring, everything's done. Now you have you know how many touches, what days it goes out, outsourced, it's done. That's been implemented in less than 24 hours. Like that's what's coming and people don't know it yet. But my goal is to say, I'm going to do all that shit for free. You go to whatever company you want. You come over here. I'm going to help you build every single piece of the puzzle. And it's going to be best practices backed by ChatGPT support and a workflow that does it for you so that you don't got to go hire 10 people to figure out how to do this shit. And think about it. If you're sitting at a company right now and you know that that's going to be my offer to your agents, you tell me how to compete with that because I don't know how you're going to.
Well, the only way they're going to compete is how we used to have to compete. Is that I had to pay you $25,000 to be part of your mastermind every year. Yep. I mean, that's what it was. And it's still
that was the old model.
That's the old model. And I still believe in it. Look, we're super close friends with a lot of great coaches out there that have amazing masterminds. But here's what we got coming in 2026. We're adding to our value stack. We're going to show you and actually a done-for-you system on how to get a listing a week. That's coming. Yep. 2026, we got that on the horizon. We're bringing the mastermind back to Tahoe, baby. We're going back to Tahoe. And these masterminds, we're gonna have some retreats, some masterminds. They're not all gonna be just about that business side of it. Because here's the other thing I'm seeing, Jay, and you put this in your post too. I was so proud of you. I don't know how many days you're what 30, 32, 30, 34 days, no alcohol. Wow. I'm seeing more and more people. I'm on actually Thursday, 2 days from now is 100 days for me. What we're seeing
is thank you for inspiring me, by the way. So appreciate you.
Yo, you're welcome. But I was inspired by hundreds and hundreds of other people. And I'll be honest, if we're being, completely transparent, I was the guy that was like, oh, there's another one that fell off. There's another quitter. Meanwhile, I knew that if we were going to go to the next level that we're talking about right now, we needed a clearer head to do it. So we're going to be focusing on health. We're going to be focusing on relationships. We're going to be focusing on building your business the right way. Mind, body, spirit, all three of those we're going to be combining. You're just going to see it. It's going to feel like 2017, 18, 19 again. It already does. It's been more, we've had more fun than we've ever had in our real estate career. We say that all the time. But, everyone's hit this lull. I mean, last couple of years have been tough for everybody. But, man, someone put gas back in this Ferrari. They took that governor off. And actually, it was Harley today on our call today, and I literally already popped
great analogy.
GPT. I'm already putting a video out on this, but like, imagine this. Imagine somebody says to you, now this only probably applies to maybe 22 to 32-year-old, maybe male, I don't know, but females, they love Ferraris too. But imagine someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to build you a Ferrari. I'm going to build you. Not only am I going to build you a custom Ferrari, exactly the color, everything that you want. I'm going to actually teach you how to drive it. I'm going to, because when I got my first Ferrari, I was like, God, how do I drive this thing fast? I was like, I'm not trained on how to handle this kind of engine. Well, that's the kind of engine and speed we're going to teach you to build how your business. And the best part is the only thing you got to put in it is gas. That's it. You got to put your own gas money in, but all the rest we do for you. 2026,
we'll maintain it for you.
Yep,
That's what. Hey, listen, if you have a Ferrari, so I know that you know this, but like the maintenance on these things are you get something like that, and you're like, okay, well that's a lot more than I anticipated.
Yep.
But that's a big deal, man. Like, yeah. And I don't think, we already kind of let the cat out of the bag, like what we've been doing, but it's been very much behind the scenes, very private in terms of rolling out, nothing real public about what we're doing. In fact, you probably didn't know about it unless you got a personal invite from me. And I'll just explain it because I think most people, if you're still watching and you haven't heard, you're going to want to know. But what I ran into 3 or 4 years ago at 40 FLQA, and I'm looking at every agent, I'm like, man, to me, it would have cost $135,000 to drop below 40. And that's not a thing anymore. It's 30. It's a bigger difference, huge difference. But I looked at every agent, like they're coming on board. I'm like, all right, you could be the one that's going to be worth 135,000, or you could be the one that if you don't sell something that you're going to cost me 100. How do I make sure this one sells a house every month? And so I'm trying to solve this with a much higher level of intensity than I've ever tried to solve any problem in my life, because it's $1 million problem.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
like people, that's a real thing. So big, high class problem nonetheless, but a problem. So the things that we're able to do one off to help somebody, no question we can help anybody sell a house. That's not even a question. But then that question of how do we do it at scale, that scares the shit out of me, because I have had 50 employees and I didn't really want 50 employees. And so I knew the minute I was scared to do it, I had to do it. And I was like, man, if it's you got to kind of push yourself into the uncomfortable. You ain't gonna you go through the dark to see the light, this kind of thing. But as we started developing how we would do this at scale for anybody that joined, ChatGPT started getting better and better and faster and easier, and you can build workflows. And so our ability to really target a specific part of the market for you and generate a lead at a super low cost, which is essentially using AI to lower your CAC, your customer acquisition cost. If you're a team, it works even at a multiple better because you got more agents, and I can get you off these damn portals. But it's a way for you to build your brand in the marketplace. It's one way. It's not the only way, but it is a very efficient and effective way to do it. And we can map the CRM for best practices. Either you have them or you don't have them. If you don't have them and you have a team, you're probably not as productive as you should be. You're winging it and you know it. But if we map the CRM, what text goes out when? How do we create engagement? How do I get you to a 30% contact rate? So if I generate you 75 to 100 leads, that means your ad spends $300. I can generate you a deal and a half a month. That's for an average agent. Better agents can convert better. But that's going to be a couple $100 customer acquisition cost, and you're spending $4,000 to $5,000 with Zillow, Realtor.com, all these super high lead costs that you're beholden to.
Dude, because people got to understand this. You're in competition with all the agents in your market, right? When you make a commission check, now the public thinks that just goes right into our bank account. We go party with it. We go buy a boat, do whatever. No, you have expenses. One of the biggest expenses is the cost to acquire that customer. Now, if your commission check averages around $10,000 and you're paying 40% to the portal, that quick math is $4,000. That's the cost it's costing you to acquire that customer. We've been getting leads between $3 and $5 customer acquisition cost to acquire that customer. You're going to just win. The odds are forever in your favor when you're able to lower that cost, not by just half, not by 75%, by like 90%. So when it's an unfair advantage is what we're giving our agents.
It's the biggest, most inefficient area within the whole entire real estate model is how do you spend money to acquire a customer? It's what we're the best at. And that's what we can implement for you. And so but it doesn't stop. It's not just that. If I can generate you leads at $3 to $5. You might even find somebody else that could do that. If you don't have the follow-up sequences and the right touches in place to create the engagement so that you get to a 30% contacted rate, if you get 100 leads and you speak to 30, even if you say a lot of dumb shit, you're probably going to sell something. That's what I've learned. When you do it at scale for a lot of people, you learn that if you talk to 30 people and you didn't sell something, we got to talk about what you're saying on the phone, because there's something there that can be better. And that's where we focus and we fix. And so at every part of the funnel, but if you don't have enough opportunities coming in, then you're going to spend, I'm spending $65 a lead with Realtor.com. You're going to run out of budget before you get to your first closing. And that's going to be 4 months from now. It's not enough. The cost is killing your ability to execute at scale what you need to get to a couple deals a month. It's like most agents I talk to, if you're closing 2 more deals a month every month, and you know that's your pipeline is full and you know where they're coming from, that solves most 90% of every agent's problem. The bigger problems you have are higher class problems, people doing more deals. But done for you, that's a significant lift off your shoulders. You don't have to learn how to do. I don't even know how to log into Facebook and run an ad. No, but I have world-class Olympic gold medalist athletes that do, and they can do it for you. And I'm willing to make that investment if you partner with us. And so I can't do it. And I'm looking at my team. I'm like, man, I've got all these people that I can wave a magic wand and they make anything happen. What if we did that for everybody? And I was scared to do it, like I said, but that's what we're doing. Now let's take it a level deeper. And this is what it's evolved to. And it's just evolving faster every day. But now we know that this person, and now, okay, ChatGPT, this is the house and this location in this market that you say is a sweet spot. Who's the most likely buyer for that home? In today's market, that's super important because it's very different and every market is different, very different. So it's very customized to your specific market and what's actually happening. And it gives you this detail of they're 46 years old, moving from California, Washington, or Oregon. They got a job at Toyota or Dr. Pepper Keurig, and their kids are this age, that this is their hopes, fears, concerns, desires about making this move. Oh, rip that into 10 video scripts so I can create content. And now let's put that in the follow-up sequence. Now, it's not like we're doing that so that we're waiting for algorithm gods to show that to people, because that, I don't know how that works. It definitely has not worked for me. As far as you go, I'm going to go walk through an open house and show whatever. I don't even know what you're supposed to do there. Never seen it work at scale, but we're going to put that in front of the 100 people that we know that the real buyers are these people. And we're going to put content that's like a tuning fork to exactly what they're trying to do, positioning you as an expert. Well, why is that important? Because you only talked to 30 out of the 70. So the rest of these people you've never spoke to, they need to know who you are because they got amnesia. They filled out that form and they're like, I don't remember filling that out. What are you talking about? I didn't do that. That's what they say when you call them. If you call us, you can call them 3 times a day, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever, like everybody, the old school method of trying to convert. I used to teach my agents to do the same thing because that is free labor. So
Wrong number.
Right?
I wasn't on your site.
Say it again.
I wasn't on your site. Wrong number.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But now they know who you are, and they're like, "Oh, this guy gets it. He knows exactly that's what I'm concerned about." So now they know who you are. They're more likely to respond to call, text, or all of that is the leverage you need to have to get to the higher conversion with that cost. And if you don't do it, the person that does is going to be able to outspend you eventually. And so. Let my team do it.
You're taking notes, Jay. You're dropping absolute gold right now. But the truth is, we've been listening to this. I mean, you can find a lot of this stuff on YouTube on how to do it, this and that. You've probably seen it at your company's conference.
It makes sense.
Or maybe a workshop. But how come you haven't done it? I'll tell you why. Because it's freaking hard. It's hard to get this stuff across the finish line and then actually make it work. Or you start to do it. This is the magic of what you've done, brother. And I know I speak on behalf of not just Honey Badger Nation, but all of EXP, man. Thank you for figuring out how to scale this. Because when we built this, we literally just built it for you and I,
right.
for personal recruits. And now the doors are open. And, man, it's never been more fun.
You don't have to struggle. Yeah,
nope.
Dude, love you, man. This has been it's fun, man. I'm excited about where we're headed, and just know that if you're looking for help, we wake up every day trying to figure out how to help you without ever trying to make a dollar other than what EXP pays us in revenue share. And if you think that's valuable, then you should probably have a conversation with somebody that's in our network, because that's a unique thing that only exists because of this model. Otherwise, I'd be out here trying to figure out how to take 10% of your commission. Maybe 5% would work. I could do that and you'd pay it. You'd be happy to do it. But I don't have to. That's the difference. And
or you could just go to honeybadgernation.com, hit us up, and we would be delighted to look at your business and take it to the moon with us. We got some room in the wagon.
Yeah, baby. All right, man.
Honeybadgernation.com. Hey, man, have a good night. It's Taco Tuesday. Tacos are on the way.
Later, brother.
See you, man.
Burn the boat in the king.